A couple of weeks ago, we did an episode on coaches, or more specifically bullied coaches, before and after restoration. And it was pretty well received. We had some lovely comments, so if you did comment, thank you so much. Someone did ask whether we could cover things like water to the toilets, how lights work, and the vacuum brake systems. Now, the vac brakes are a slightly meaty subject, so they're going to have their own episode, but the other two, and the other stuff to go with it as well, we're going to do right now. Now, I'm no expert on carriages, I've said it before and I'll say it again. So I've lined up someone from the carriage maintenance team who will take us round the coach, what they're looking for, and how they keep you safe on the railway.
Phil Griffin is a carriage foreman based at Alresford and has been working on the railway for over 8 years, starting as an apprentice in March 2013. Today, he's going to show us some of the things the maintenance team look out for in order to keep the coaches rolling.
So here we are on one of the coaches which requires an FTR. Some of the things we're looking for, particularly on the ends anyway, are the buffers. These retract in and out. So at the moment they're in the extended position. Remove the saddle, now you're pushing out the way. And what that is used for is forever when we're buckeying two coaches together. The buffers aren't required because all the buffing is done by the gangway plate and the buckeye. When we're hooking up to an engine, these are pulled out again, the saddle attached, and that means an engine can buffer on and the screw link coupling put over the draw hook. This being the draw hook here. Hanging off it is the buckeye. This can be lifted upwards. The jaws can be opened, and as you couple up together, the two jaws interlink almost, and they lock together and they won't pull away. Here we've got the vacuum train pipe. It's a flexible hose with a handed connection on the end. There'll be an identical one on the opposite coach, and they both link in together, secured with the chain, so. And then across the other side we have the steam heat hose. This is again another coupling which couples up with an identical piece on the other coach, and a valve up here to open and shut the steam supply. Obviously the steam supply coming from the locomotive. So when we're doing an FTR, one of the things we're looking at is the condition of the bogies. This includes condition of the tyres, the brake rigging, and all the nuts and bolts associated with, and the split pins. Checking, make sure nothing's missing. And if we find anything missing or loose, it's a case of tightening up or replacing. Also checking on condition of the axle box, horn guides, springing, and all the damping mechanisms and the bolster anchors. Generally, in a worst case scenario, you might get a cracked spring, and this would be a withdrawn coach out for major works to have the spring replaced. One of the questions we got asked was where the water comes from for the toilets. Simple answer is, put a hose on there, there's a filler pipe, runs to a header tank in the roof. The water is then gravity fed through pipes into the toilet cistern, and every time you flush, that's where you get your water from. And if you're wondering why you don't flush in a station, it's because it comes out down the bottom there. One of the questions we got asked was how the lights are powered, and on a coach there are 6 aside 2-volt batteries, 12 in all, producing 24 volts. This whole system runs on 24 volts, and that is ultimately where the lights are powered from. However, the batteries require charging, and that's where we come to the dynamo. So underneath every vehicle there's a dynamo, and this is what charges the batteries for the lights. Normally starts charging about 15 miles an hour. Driven by this belt, runs off a pulley wheel attached to the axle of the main wheels. These have been known to break apart every now and again. Normally we make sure they don't break apart. Sometimes they do, and that's why this chain's here. It stops the dynamo from swinging about when the belt breaks. There's one other special box on the coach which links in the dynamo to the batteries. Obviously, if you wire the dynamo directly into the batteries, the dynamo effectively would then become a motor and start turning itself. So what you need is a method of cutting off the supply, but cutting it in at just the right speed, in this case 50 miles an hour. And in this box of tricks is a regulator. And in here we have various contacts for bringing the dynamo in when it reaches up to speed. The regulator for the output of the dynamo. In other words, as the train gets faster, it doesn't put out too much current that it blows the batteries up. And on the right hand side here is the lighting control unit. And this is done by a switch in the coach. Makes a contact, and that's what turns your lights on.
Bill, thank you so much for showing us around. How many coaches do we actually have here on the railway?
We currently have approximately 30 coaches on the railway, of which there's about 20 in service at this moment in time. Those that are awaiting overhaul will eventually go up to Ropley, have the work done, and end up in service hopefully in the near future.
Wow, didn't actually realise we had so many. So is it quite an intensive job to take care of all of them?
It is indeed. We have a rolling programme in place to keep up with the maintenance on the vehicles. It's very intensive, it's non-stop, and it's really just to keep the vehicles in tip-top shape for service.
Phil, thank you so much for showing us around today, and I'll let you get on with it.
You're very welcome. Hope you guys found it interesting.
There you are, guys, a little impromptu two-parter about building and maintaining the coaches. Hope you all enjoyed it. Vacuum braking, it was a very good suggestion, and it's a meaty subject, so we're going to give it its very own episode. So folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Things You Now Know.
One of the questions I got asked was, where does the water...
And someone asked online whether we could do an episode about how we do what do they ask online? Water, that's it.
She's on the railway, approximately. I'll do that again.
So the only downer of being at the railway when you're filming is we're below the flight path for Southampton Airport. Damn.
Completely non-stop process. We have a rolling programme in place. I forgot what else I was going to say there.
Cut.